Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm your host Kevin. We're discussing my life with Tourette. So today I have a special guest, somebody I have been knowing for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important she come on because she has her own podcast and it's about mental health. And when I've talked about it before with Tourette, mental health does play an issue in it as far as depression and anxiety. I mean, those two, like a lot of people have it.
hmm
And so I think it would be very good to bring somebody on so we can discuss more about Tourette's, like always, but also about the mental health side. So without further ado, here she is, Tara.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kevin. I'm really excited to be doing this with you. Ever since you told me that you were starting a podcast, I was just so excited and proud of you for doing this and for sharing your story and your experiences. Specifically because my podcast is really about the human experience and sharing like what people go through. So um, I'm just so excited to be here.
Now, with that, you want to give everybody out there insight into your podcast, kind of let them know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's called Tea Time with Tara, and I have people on to talk about their life experiences. I'm about to start a new season because I took a little hiatus while I was dealing with my own life stuff. And so on March 27th, I will be launching my first ever season 2 episode, and it's going to be live. I'll be doing like probably one live episode a month and then just weekly regular episodes. So you can find me on probably most podcast platforms at Tea Time with Tara. So
Interesting, interesting. So,
thanks.
with this, I know I talk about, knowing people that have Tourette's, and,
hmm
most of them people know a good bit about Tourette's, obviously, because they have it. But you not knowing, not having Tourette's, I'm sure you're not fully on the understanding of what Tourette's is and, what everything that comes with Tourette's. So I was wondering maybe any questions you
Oh, I have
have.
lots of questions. So this is actually so exciting because we've known each other for so long, and like we've been through so much together, I feel like, in our lives because we've grown up together.
Yep.
And I've known that you have struggled so much with it. And I remember there were times when it was really, really bad and you couldn't figure out what was going on. But I don't know anything about Tourette's, like other than the tics and like just from talking to you, basically. So my I guess my first question would be how Tourette's has shaped your experience, especially because you told me that you also have ADHD, and so do I, and so I feel like that's a really interesting dynamic, probably, right?
Oh, very much so. And it definitely, I brought that up before is like most people, from what I've, read and heard and everything, almost everybody, I don't think all, but almost everybody that has Tourette's has ADHD or a form of it. Like, from what I've understood with the having it most of my life is
hmm
they definitely run hand in hand.
Okay, so
Like,
they're called comorbidities in
yes, that's the
yes,
exact
yeah,
word.
yeah.
The exact word for it.
Yeah.
I don't know like all the
No, I'm
big
sorry. I just
terminology. So I just go like they go hand in hand with each other, and
Yeah, yeah,
I guess
exactly.
that kind of sums it up. But
Yeah.
it's true. Like, I mean, and what's crazy, like I've talked about, like I never really fully understood my ADHD until I got older, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so this is what I do. This is definitely ADHD. But yeah, they definitely run hand in hand together for sure.
Yeah.
And
So,
go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. So, like, having Tourette's, can you tell me, as somebody who knows absolutely nothing about it, what it is?
So it is, from what I know. I mean, I don't want to go on here like medical doctor stuff. This is opinions,
Of course,
thoughts.
yeah. And your
Yeah.
experience.
Yes, yes. From what I've dealt with and what I know is one, they're motor tics and there are vocal tics. So motor
Hmm.
tics is where you're going to be moving. You're going to make involuntary movements.
Okay.
Whether it's you jerk your head, like I know, like even today, I've had it since I was 8. That head jerk till today, it's not as bad as it used to be. Like when I was younger, my mom said I looked like a bobblehead, running down the soccer field. Like it was that aggressive,
Yeah.
that severe. And but with that, I've also had like arm jerks, I pop my jaw, make clicking sounds, like you got the vocal tics,
Hmm.
which are, like I said, you make sounds, you make noises.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've had so many of them. And like right now, my main tics, verbal, vocal tic is coughing, clear my throat until I
Yes.
gag. And then my motor tic, the main one I have is I jump in place and I jerk my head still.
Okay.
But those, yeah, so those are my, as of now, those are my ticks. But like over the years, I've had so many different ones that run in the categories. Like I said, because Tourette's is involuntary verbal, vocal, motor tics. And I mean, over the years, it changes. Because like I've never had, except for the head jerk, the same tick forever. They've always changed, always. And that's something I notice with a lot of people that I've met, heard about, talked to. Like that's the same thing. Like they've never always had just one. Especially like older people like me. They've gone through a bunch. So just to kind of give a rundown, it's
Yeah.
mainly like the main breakdown of it. They have motor tics and vocal tics, and
So,
it's
so
both
I didn't know about
involuntary.
I didn't know about the motor tics at all, actually. I mean, because we met on the internet like 20 years ago or something like that, and
Yeah,
actually longer than that, which is kind of crazy. But
it's a
uh,
long time.
I'm familiar with the verbal ones, but I didn't know about the motor ones. So that's actually really interesting. I'm sure that that has probably, I mean, you were talking about how your mom said you running down the soccer field and like a bobblehead. Like, how did that affect you socially?
As a kid, I never really thought about it much.
Hmm.
Like it was just, that was me, I guess. Like I never really put focus into it. I just did my thing as a kid. That's who I was. That's what I did. Whatever. But as an adult, I've become more focused in that it could be very uncomfortable in certain situations having Tourette's, for sure.
Okay.
Like around people you don't know,
Hmm.
you want to try your best to hold it in. It's not going to happen, but
Yeah.
you're going to try your absolute best. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'm going to try, but it's very embarrassing at times and it's
Okay.
very uncomfortable because I mean you're doing something you can't control, but the people on the outside looking in are like thinking, well, you should be able to control that, you know
Right. Right. Like
so
because they don't understand.
yeah, so for me, like that's the main thing is just it can be very embarrassing and it can be very uncomfortable to have
Mm.
for
Yeah,
the most
that
part.
makes sense. That makes
Hmm.
sense. And
Yeah.
so were kids like your age, were they mean to you at all about it, or did everybody just kind of like, because you said that you were okay and comfortable with it when you were a kid, but were other kids mean about it?
No, I mean so fun little thing here. I had Tourette's growing up. Yeah, and it's a standout thing. And nobody ever bullied me, ever, that I
That's good,
remember.
really.
Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
ever recall somebody making fun of me. And I had some real close friends that I'm pretty sure if someone would have started something, I would have had backup. So,
Hmm.
I had protection in the fact of someone's going to stop that person from saying what they're saying. And it
Yeah.
felt good, like to have the confidence behind me, like, hey, who cares what people say? You are what you are. It is what is what it is. So as far as like now, because like now I get a lot of people reaching out to me that they're kids or if it's a teenager, the bullying.
Mm.
But thankfully, I never got negative feedback from any of my peers coming up. Never. Like
That's
even
great though.
yeah, like even on the soccer field, like I'm playing soccer, moving all over. I never ever, not like now. And it's crazy because back then it was less popular than it is now. As far as popular, I mean like in TV.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely live in an age now where everything is so much more visible because everybody's got an actual computer in their hands with their cell phones. So, I mean, that definitely makes a difference with visibility, but I think that that visibility is really important. Um, is there something that you feel like people have misconceptions about people with Tourette's? Like, is there anything?
Yeah, yeah, big time. Everything TV, movies show you, huge misconception.
Yeah,
Huge,
how
big
so?
misconception. Because, and I've covered this a little bit throughout my podcast, and that I'll never know how to pronounce the actual name of this tick, but the
Hmm.
one where you curse and you say vulgar things,
Hmm.
whether it's racial slurs, whether it's curse words, whatever it is. Um, Big misconception there. Actually, only about 10% of people with Tourette's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 10%, actually do that.
Wow. Yeah.
Whereas the movies, the TV, the everything depicts it as you have Tourette's. And it's so crazy because every single person now that I'm an adult that I've ever come in contact with that found out I have Tourette's, every one of them was like, "You don't curse." Like I thought that's what Tourette was. So
Wow.
it's like the hugest
Yeah.
misconception.
That is cool.
Like I
Yeah.
told a guy at work because I always cough and clear my throat, and
Hmm.
he was asking, like, "You good?" And I always just play it off like I'm, whatever. I just got a chronic cough. And then when he found out I have a podcast, me and a guy at work were talking about my podcast, and he found out that's what I have.
Hmm.
Same thing. Oh man, I thought you just cursed if you had it. And I mean,
Wow.
it is what it is. People are always gonna do what they do, but yeah, massive misconception. And you go anywhere, like I've read online numerous times, like that is the biggest misconception. One
That
of,
makes
one
sense.
of.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense because it's true. Like what you said, it definitely is depicted like that in TV and movies. Like you don't see it really talked about in any other way other than that.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I never even thought about that, but
yeah,
yeah.
because like really, realistically, you're making noises and you're moving.
Hmm.
It's like that's what you're and I've been around a handful of people throughout my life that have had it.
Yeah.
All the same, they just move and make weird noises. It's all
Yeah.
they've ever done. So like, I'm actually friends with a woman whose son has Tourette's, and he actually does that. He does
Okay.
that tick,
Yeah.
and she says like it's so embarrassing for him
Of
because here
course.
you are as a kid saying things to other kids that you don't mean. And he
Right.
he apologizes on a daily to everybody. And
Oh,
I can only imagine like I'm already going through some stuff having to tick and do
right.
my thing. To have to deal with saying those things to anybody and everybody,
Yeah.
that could be a real I mean that's even more embarrassing than just having Tourette's itself, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine what that must be like for somebody. How embarrassing and like I mean, I think about the broader impact of like how do you even, like, what do you do for work? How does that affect you at work? Uh,
Like
yeah.
at work. So it's gotten to the point where everybody at work knows I have it.
Hmm.
Now I keep it mild. I keep it very mild. I'm able to do subside it a little bit to a certain extent. When
Well,
nobody's around, it's coming out like
yeah.
big. But
So,
while everybody's around, it's they know I have it, but it's very minor in their eyes.
yeah. Okay. So then your medication that helps like keep it under control too?
To a certain extent, yeah. Like to a certain extent, my medicine helps, and then me learning over the years ways to calm it down, or I wouldn't say calm it down, ways to let it come out and let it come out in minor amounts.
How do you
I
do that?
guess
Like what are
like if I need a cough,
Mhm.
like if my coughing one comes on, I'll just do like little minor coughs to where it sounds like I just have a cough.
Interesting.
Whereas like the real tick is an extremely loud cough. Like
Right.
I'm putting all my force in my body into this cough.
Yeah.
So
So isn't it
like,
kind of exhausting to have to subdue it? Like doesn't that take a lot of
uh,
energy?
well, I mean,
Like mentally?
like being able to let that little bit out
Mhm.
helps. Now, if I
Okay.
gotta like hold it in altogether,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be the best way I could ever describe it. It's like
Yeah.
holding in a sneeze for a normal person. Eventually, it's coming out, and it's
Right.
gonna hurt right
It's gonna
here
be
while you're holding
violent.
it in. So you're gonna be like crawling in your own skin, wanting to let it out,
Yeah.
and then when it does, it's like big explosion, and
Yeah.
it's even worse. So
Wow. Yeah.
I wish I could be around whoever and just let it
Mhm.
out how it is,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure some people would get scared or freak out. One of the two, they'd be like, "Whoa," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I never even like I never thought about that either, that you would feel like you had to control it or subdue it. That
yeah.
yeah,
And
that's a lot.
there's a lot of people I know that it's so bad they can't. I mean, when I was younger, I was on so many medications and I still was to the max, but I didn't know like the tips I know now. Like, try your best to just let it out in small increments, and it gives
Okay.
you a little bit of that relief rather than just saying screw it and just exploding
Yeah.
24/7.
So how
Like
did you
some people.
learn how did you learn that?
I guess you would say like over time, like the clicking sounds and like the real bad head jerks and all, there
Hmm.
really wasn't no controlling that. But
Right.
now it's a cough. And the way I've learned it is, like I said, just I've learned if I can let out a minor cough,
Hmm.
it'll fill that major cough till nobody's around. And
Interesting.
learning that is just pretty much over time, letting out these little small coughs and realizing, okay, if I let out this, then I'm not so tensed up wanting to let out this explosion. Because I've been in a truck with somebody and they told me my cough breaks eardrums.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, they said when you ride in a truck with me, I feel you're gonna blow my eardrum out.
Oh God, that's awful.
Yeah, it could be. It could be like when I'm out in the open area, it's not so bad. And then
Yeah.
half the people think I just let out a huge sneeze. They don't even
Okay.
realize it's. And
Yeah.
what's and another thing I've learned is like play it off how the outside world sees it. So they think I'm sneezing, I'm rolling with it. And it makes it a lot easier for me because now I don't have to explain to every single human I walk to that I
Right.
have Tourette's. And it takes a load off because now I'm not like, oh, these people know I have Tourette's.
Right.
Not that I care that people know, but it's a little less BS if they don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
you know,
Wow.
but I mean, I'm sure like with mental health,
Hmm.
to touch base on that,
Hmm.
you know, the depression aspect of Tourette's. Like, it gets heavy. I know for a fact, talking, I've never really had too much of it. I've had a little bit, but like talking to some people ever since I started this podcast, like I didn't realize like that hits with depression. Like depression hits with it
Yeah.
because it's just an uncomfortable situation that you got to force yourself into.
Yeah, well, that's why I was
Yes.
saying that it seems like the mental and like emotional effort that it takes just to try to subdue it, for example, or like thinking about how you're in a public place and you're like, "Oh no, like I feel like this is coming on and what do I do about it? How are the people around me going to react?" Like that's a heavy burden to carry every day, and I can only imagine the toll that it takes, and like it sounds like it causes a lot of anxiety too. Would
Yeah.
you say
Yeah.
that's accurate? Yeah.
Uh, for me, a little bit. See, like, I wish a lot of people would have my mindset, why I have it, or why I've accumulated this, or how. I don't know, but I think if more people would have my mindset, depression and anxiety would not affect them. And my mindset is, I don't care what you think. I don't
Right.
care. Like, I
Yeah.
really, truly don't care if someone thinks
You've
different of me.
you kind of always been that way. Like as long as I've
Mhm.
known you, you've always been like that. I
For
don't know.
sure, for sure.
The
Like,
the
like,
punk
well,
the punk rock kid who doesn't really care. You just are who you are.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
thing is like, I know if I let you get to me,
Uh-huh.
depression's gonna hit, anxiety,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these things are just gonna, and then my Tourette's are gonna flare up, even worse than what they do. And I wish, I hope, maybe one day a lot of people will get to this level of who cares. I'll explain to somebody I have Tourette's, but I'm not gonna care your thoughts and opinions on me having it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're weird because you have Tourette's, or what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
because I
people are
do.
going to think that anyway, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so, with that being said, like, what kind of advice would you give somebody who has Tourette's to like help them to get to that place where they care a whole lot less about what other people think?
I think, and you say that, and I think like the biggest like range of age where that would really affect that I'm finding out with having my podcast
Hmm.
is kids, teenagers, and young adults. Like I find that's where it's really hitting.
Yeah,
Because I mean, a lot of the older you get, everybody knows the older you get, the less you worry about people,
right.
thoughts and
Well,
opinions.
we
But
would hope, one would hope.
yeah, yeah. Well, at least me for sure. Me for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess like with that, with the bullying, is
Hmm.
like, my advice is just, my mom said this is great. My mom tells me this whenever I'm getting flustered. Water off a duck's back. That's really
Yeah.
all it is. It's water off a
Yeah.
duck's back. But I know it gets so like aggressive, so excessive
Hmm.
that it becomes hard not let it go.
Yeah.
But you can apologize all day long. You can try to find ways to whatever, but like my biggest advice is just don't let those people's thoughts and opinions make you feel any other different way than what you really are.
Yeah.
Let people know your self-worth is more than just my Tourette's.
Yeah.
Big time,
Yeah.
big time.
I mean,
Let it be known that my Tourette's is not me. And I
yeah.
will never let you make me feel that it is. Biggest thing.
Well, as somebody who has known you for so long and has been your friend for so long, I never even like even though I knew that you have it, I never really thought about it that much. Like we would talk and you would have your tics and I mean, we've been friends for over 20 years and
Yeah,
like I think it's like almost 25. But
yeah,
like I would hear the ticks and I would just, well, I knew what it was, and we never really talked about it. And so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
actually
yeah,
so crazy that we're talking about it now, because I just got so used to it and never really thought anything of it. So, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if that's any consolation to anybody who is struggling with it, like the people who matter, the people
yeah, 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 yeah,
who's they're not gonna it's not gonna impact how they think of you, because you are a whole person
yeah,
aside from it. Even though it's a big part of your life, like it doesn't change who you are or what I think of you at all. So
yeah. And I've made a podcast episode kind of about safe places.
yeah,
And like you say, I mean that's huge. Like get friends and family to support you in the fact that
yeah,
you have, and what I mean by support you, like don't make you uncomfortable, make you
hmm,
happy, make you, all that. And that's
yeah,
like a huge help, because then it's like, well, I'm just going to hang out with my friends and my family. They don't judge me. I'll be happy there.
right. They accept
Yeah.
you as you are, all like every part of you, even
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
uncomfortable parts. I mean, like I said, we've been through some stuff together, and even when
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, like what are you doing? Or like what's going on? And I'm sure you've thought the same thing about me
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's never changed how much I love you and care about you as a friend. It's never changed like what I thought of you as a person. Like we all go through stuff, and so you having Tourette's is no different to me anyway. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just part
Yeah.
of who you are.
Yeah. And I mean, I think people out there with Tourette's, like if you have friends and family around you, like big thing, like don't make it noticed. And
What do
by
you
that I
mean?
mean, like, don't sit there and be like staring at them while they're ticking,
Mm,
or like, let them feel like they're not even doing it. Like when I'm around some friends now, we'll be talking like me and you are talking now, and I'll be coughing and twitching away, and we don't even skip a beat, keep talking. Like
yeah,
I'm
I mean
like
that's
I'm
how
just
it's always
standing
been.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if young kids, teenagers, young adults could really get that group of
Hmm.
people,
Yeah.
then when you do face the world, it's like, yeah, I don't care, because the people that really love and care about me, they don't believe this, so I don't care.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
important. I think and I'm very grateful to be a part of that safe space for you. Um
yeah, yeah,
I feel like having that safe space, even, when for me with ADHD, for example, like I didn't get diagnosed until I was 33, 35, 30 something, 34, 35. And like you were saying, how you didn't really know that much about it. Like I didn't even know that much about it. I just felt like something was wrong with me all the time. But I
yeah,
always had
yeah,
people in my life who accepted me as I was, even when they didn't know that that's what was going on with me, for
yeah,
example. And like,
yeah.
so yeah, just kind of,
Mhm.
all
Definitely,
right.
definitely.
I have one other question that I really want to ask you, because it sounds like you are in such a secure place with it, and I think that that's so special. um
Hmm.
what is something that you feel like the silver lining to having Tourette's? Like what's something beautiful about it, or like special about it?
uh it will open your eyes, me for sure, and
Hmm.
I'm almost sure others. I would
Yeah,
hope, because I mean, you're in a pickle in your own self. It has really opened my eyes to biggest quote ever. Don't judge. Don't
yeah,
ever judge somebody.
yeah,
And don't judge a book by its cover. Because with it, like, you really understand. Like, I get feedback that I wouldn't want people to have.
right,
And so if you come across, somebody with a mental disability or whatever they have,
yeah,
definitely be open armed, caring person. Like it's made me a very caring person when it comes to other human beings, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
Because like I said, I mean, we have something we can't control, and we still get stuff for it when we can't
Yeah.
even control it.
Right.
So like them other people out there that have stuff they can't control, and they're
Mm-hmm.
getting judged for.
Yeah.
What's the point? I guess you'd
Yeah.
say like that's the big thing for me is just don't don't judge. Big time don't.
Oh, Kev, I
And
feel so
and
proud
and
of you.
and unfortunately, we live in a world where it's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
and when and Tourette, whatever you deal with,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean you just gotta know, like don't, don't. Because I could judge somebody. I have Tourette. I judge people. Well, how does that make me better?
Right.
Because I get judged on a daily basis, so why should I judge somebody else?
Yeah. It's true.
Big time.
It's
That
very
and
true.
I could say that till I'm blue in my face. Don't do it. Don't pay.
Yeah.
Big time. That's my thing.
I
What
love that.
how about this? What have okay, so you have your mental disability podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What's something that you have taken away? Because I bring up depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like with you knowing what you like, talking about what you talk about, knowing what you
Mm-hmm.
know on your with your podcast and stuff. So far from what you've learned and all this and that, is there anything you could say you could take away about Tourette's, like any knowledge?
I mean, considering that I knew nothing before, and now having this opportunity to talk to you about it, I mean, it goes back to like the whole thing about with my podcast with sharing people's experiences, sharing the human experience. Like Tourette's is another part of the human experience, and
Yeah,
you talking about it and you sharing your experience and even your conversations with other people with kids who have it or who have it themselves. um it sounds to me like when there are people who struggle with something, the people who have been through stuff seem to have like a bigger hearts, be more compassionate, and generally be kinder
yeah,
and understanding to every person, whether they have a visible or disability or not. And I mean, yours is kind of like a semi invisible disability, only because of the fact that like, and maybe we don't want to call it a disability. I don't know. Like, I I don't like. I know some people don't like using that word. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm still learning myself, and like I
yeah,
started to go to school for psychology, actually, around probably around the time that I started my podcast, because I realized that like if this is something that I'm going to talk about, I want to know more about it. And it's I never really considered how much a what's it called, a neurological issue could have that interplay with something like a neurodivergence.
yeah. Hey, real quick, fun thing here.
Yeah.
So I've had it all my life, almost since I was 8.
Okay.
I went to my neurologist one time,
Mm-hmm.
and so neurology, it's everything with the brain. And
Yeah.
I've never come across anybody probably older than me that had it. There was a guy in there. I guarantee this dude was about 70 years old, and he had
Yeah.
Tourette's. That blew my
Yeah.
mind. I'm like, so this is what I look forward to. It's evident. Still having this stuff.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great journey. But
Yeah.
hopefully by then, you know, years away now, it'll be a totally different ball game with it. I
Well,
would
like,
hope.
would you
I would hope.
say, yeah, so that's actually a really interesting point. Like, do you think that even in the time since you've had it basically your whole life, do you think that in the time, like, since the time that you were diagnosed and now that treatment has changed and that like the science has changed in order to help people with Tourette's?
They actually have a thing. It's a form of therapy. They've come out with, I don't know how many years, being out a while now. And it's a form of therapy that they have learned. I don't fully know much about it, but it's something along the lines of knowing when your tics are about to happen and being able to control them before they happen.
Well, you're kind of doing that yourself.
Yeah, to a certain extent. It's a little more
Yeah,
in depth than what I
yeah.
do.
Yeah, but
But
still, like that's so
but it's
interesting.
like you recognize a tick,
Mhm.
you recognize what brings on that tick,
Mhm.
and the whole 9 yards. And then this therapy kind of helps you veer off from having that tick, or maybe not having it as
Wait,
much.
I'm gonna search.
Yeah, so I think it's CBIT or something. I don't remember.
Is it cognitive behavioral therapy?
There
CBT?
you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's something. I was
Oh no,
watching
it's
this.
no, I'm sorry. I googled it while we well, so it's comprehensive behavioral intervention for tics. So it's
Yes.
different than that. Okay.
Well, and I watched YouTube. I watched a seminar.
Mhm.
A doctor was talking about it,
Okay.
and like it's been out for a good while now, and it's
Yeah.
becoming more and more popular as time goes on.
Yeah.
And a big thing is to try to get away from the medication aspect. I
Okay.
know, I know. There's a few people out there that did it to try to get off. And this guy was talking. You can minimize the medication by doing this therapy. And then he was saying some of his patients have come in and their ticks decreased like 20-30%.
Just by doing the therapy.
Yeah. I would love to try it, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm at life right now. I don't care. I
Yeah.
have it. I don't care that people know. I don't like. It's gotten to the like I care, but it's gotten to the point where it's like I'm so far in.
Right.
It just
You
I've
just
learned. I've learned
accept it.
my ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've learned my ways. So I just stick with them.
Yeah.
So they
That
seem to
makes
work.
sense.
So
Good. I'm so proud of you. I am.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's so silly, but like you.
Well, and what's really cool uh is like having you on, you know, being able to, get more questions and stuff and give advice even more than what I just give on my regular episodes,
Yeah.
because I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, want to know. I know because I get the comments all the time, but it's, the whole world wanting it. I
Of
mean, I don't mean
course.
like the whole world, but like more of the population
Well,
to
yeah.
want to understand it rather than, yeah, that's weird or stop doing that. Like,
Absolutely.
how can you tell someone to stop doing something they can't control? That don't
Yeah.
make no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop your brain from doing something you don't know what it's doing.
Yeah. Believe me. I mean, even with my own struggles, like I said, with ADHD, I also have like an autoinflammatory disease. So like my body does things that I have no control over, but it's not nobody can see it. I feel it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like believe me, I wish I could control it. Like I don't want my life to be as disrupted as it is. So yeah, I
Yeah.
get that.
And
I
and
totally get
and
that.
like growing up, never really cared. Like starting
Yeah.
this podcast before starting it, and now that I'm in over a year now.
Yeah.
Well, audio, videos, I'm probably, I don't know, seven,
Hey,
eight
you're
months.
doing it. You're doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But I've really gotten in, diving in more than ever about Tourette's. And even though I haven't, there's still so much cool stuff out there to learn. I call it cool
Yeah.
because Well, I think it's interesting, and I have it. So why not learn more about what you have?
It is really interesting, and I'm
I
so
mean, I
glad
mean,
that
like
you're doing this.
somebody has something. Don't you think you'd want to know all you could about it?
Hmm.
And now, at 37 years old, I've realized I want to know all I can. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. I go off of Google. Google doesn't know everything, but my neurologist, I've asked him so many questions,
That's
and he's given
good.
me so many good answers. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, what you gonna do? I have
Yeah.
it. I wish people would understand it more. I
They will
guess.
over time, especially with what you're doing. And I mean, I would love to have you on my show, so maybe we can make that happen. We can talk a lot more about it and
Oh yeah,
spread the
definitely.
word.
Spread the word of
Yeah.
TS. You know what's crazy? Real quick before we go. So they have. I didn't know this till I started researching stuff. They
Hmm.
have Tourette syndrome, and they also have tic disorders. So you have
Oh, so
people
they're
that
different.
they have people that just tick, and they have people that have full blown Tourette. So Tourette, and the seminar I watched, the guy said they've shortened it down, but if you go look online, it's different. You have to have a verbal and a vocal and motor tick for a year straight. Whereas a tic disorder, I think you only have to have it for so long, or you just have to be able to do it. So to be able to get diagnosed for Tourette,
Yeah.
you have to have a motor and a vocal tic for such a time period
Okay.
consistently to actually be diagnosed with Tourette.
Oh, that's actually really interesting. I never knew that there
Yeah.
were two separate things.
And then when I got diagnosed, I don't know what grade you're in when you're 8 years old, but that grade. Um, um, my one of my I think my mom said it was the I don't know if it was the teacher or the
Hmm.
school counselor, whatever it was. They actually told my mom that they think I have Tourette's.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So you were
outsider.
like second grade, maybe?
I think so. Yeah, second or
Yeah.
third.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it was somebody that told my mom and dad, "Hey, I think he's got this." I went to give it to the pediatrician, and yeah, the rest is history. Now I'm here.
Wow. Well, thank goodness for that person.
Yeah. It was and I've talked about so much. What sucked all the time, I think, me and my mom talk about this, the Tourette's, is like the amount, like the guy in the seminar, he called my age group,
Hmm.
people with Tourette's my age, the medication trial group age. How do you say it? The
Wow.
medication trial age.
Yeah.
Because in our growing up era of having Tourette's, that people just new meds. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try
Right.
this. You know.
Yeah.
And now times went on, and they've realized, well, there's other things besides medicine. But in our generation era
Yeah.
time frame, I don't know. I can't even tell you how many medications I took, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because like they were still like full fledged, even though I was on medic. They're not as full fledged now. I'm on
Right.
medication, but they're not as bad. Whereas back then, I was on medication. It was like,
It didn't make a
whew,
difference. Yeah.
no, no,
Well,
and
yeah,
it's. I mean,
you
it
were
is
like a
what it
guinea
is.
pig. Like they basically
Yeah.
like the medication trial, they really tried it like let's see what we
Yeah.
can throw at this to see if it'll work. That's
Well,
so
and then
crazy.
yeah, and then like now I've realized, researching and stuff, and it blew my mind back. I don't know when, how long ago, whatever, or if it's still like that today. Blood pressure medicine was a huge medication to calm Tourette's.
Really? It worked?
Yeah, that was one of the big ones they used back in the day.
Oh,
Blood pressure
wow.
medicine.
Very
That was
interesting.
one. I mean, they used others, but blood pressure medicine was a helping medicine for TS.
Interesting.
Now it's more antipsychotics than blood pressure.
Okay.
I mean, hey, 2 and 2, you got good blood pressure and your Tourette's ain't acting up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you never have to worry about your blood pressure being wrong, and your Tourette's are doing good. So maybe the people had real bad heart problems and they figured that, I know.
Is
But
it,
yeah,
yeah, like how do you discover the off-label use of blood pressure medication for Tourette's? Like that's kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah. And when I read that, I was like, what? Like, huh?
Yeah. I guess
Because I've always,
somebody started to notice that they were treating their blood pressure with that medication and it was also helping their Tourette's, I guess. That's I
yeah,
mean, wild.
it was crazy. Like to find out about that, I was like,
Yeah.
and then fun fact, this is after I found out, before I found out about that. No, after. I was actually on a blood pressure medicine for my Tourette. I was
Oh,
like, huh,
really?
they still use it till this day.
That's great though. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's what's cool. Like, you really dive into info, man. You could really like the fact when it first all started. You know, the guy, a neurologist back in the late 1800s, diagnosed a woman with it. But then I was doing some more research, and they believe it goes back even further than that. It just never got fully
Wow.
diagnosed. Yeah. And then he got it brought to the table and everything. When he passed away in the early 1900s, it went down. And I think like the
Mm.
60s or 70s, this couple brought it back. And now we're where we are with
Oh
medication and
man.
everything.
I bet we could go on like a deep dive about
Oh,
like
yeah.
the history of it and how
Oh, yeah.
people
It's all over
probably
YouTube.
were like considered possessed and stuff instead, like
It's
especially back in the
crazy. It's
day,
crazy.
right?
They really, they did that. Because back then it was
Yeah.
like, if you did
Oh
something
my
off, you
gosh.
were a witch possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
They
Oh my
actually
gosh.
killed a lot of people because of it. Yeah.
That's so horrible. Wow.
Now we just get made fun of and stared at. So
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
I guess the times have changed.
I mean, at least you're not getting killed, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I got
Oh my
good blood
gosh,
pressure.
that's so horrible though. Wow.
I actually did that research probably like 4 or 5 months ago. Like, really
Yeah.
dove into where it all began.
Yeah.
Just curiosity, and
Yeah, of course.
finding out all that is
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Pretty
It
interesting stuff, for
is.
sure. For sure. So, well, I greatly, greatly appreciate you being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun and so like I have learned so much and I hope that other people have too. This is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and I think just keep getting it out there and go from there. And I cannot wait to hop on your podcast and let even more people know. It's
Yes,
going to be
yeah,
fun.
I'll definitely be having you on really soon. I really look forward to that.
Yes, yes. All righty, man. Well, you have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Kev.
Bye.
Bye.